ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। So we were seeing the 10th Vakya in the 4th Brahmana of the first chapter. This is the most famous Upanishad Vakya where the Mahavakya Aham Brahmasmi is there. So let us quickly look at that. Brahmava idam agre asit tad atmanam eva avet aham brahmasmi iti tasmat tat sarvam abhavat. So up to this only we are seeing the Bhashya now. So the Purva Pakshi initially argues this Brahma which was there in the beginning and which knew itself as I am Brahman. That Brahma Shabda here refers to a human being who wants to become Brahman. Now Bhashyakara points out the absurdity of that contention. Okay, so a lot of arguments were given to show why this Brahma in the beginning, which actually points to a Ajnana Avastha, a state of being ignorant, how this Brahma cannot be a human being or a samsari who is not Brahman. According to the Purva Pakshi, they are all Dvaitis, let us say. They are saying the samsari individual jiva who is not Brahman but who wants to become Brahman is referred to by the word Brahman here, because even somebody who can become a doctor after 5 years, as soon as he joins the college, we call him doctor, correct? Something like that, they are giving an argument. So even in worldly language and even in Shastra also sometimes, based on what someone is going to become in future, they get a name even before they become that. So like that, why we cannot take this Brahma as a Manushya? Okay, means Bhashyakara points out that this is not correct, because here Aham Brahmasmi like this and Atmanam Eva Avet, all these things are there. It knew only itself as I am Brahman. So in this, one of the argument, the last argument by the Purva Pakshi which we were seeing was the Purva Pakshi is saying, why cannot we say that this Aham Brahmasmi, that is a Sampat Upasana. Now Sampat Upasana means, you can say, a visualization, a meditation, where we imagine one as something else based on some resemblance. Okay, for example, we take a Shalagrama and we can say that Shalagrama is Vishnu and then do Upasana. So how do we say Shalagrama, which is nothing but a fossilized, some kind of a shell, okay, and some animal also must have been there within that, and that fossilized shell, how can we say it is Vishnu? Means if you break that fossilized shell, you will see patterns like Shankha and Chakra will be there, because the Shankham and Chakram, okay, the disc and the conch are the symbols of Vishnu. Vishnu is supposed to hold them, correct? Therefore, there is a resemblance between this Shalagrama and Vishnu, so we can visualize Vishnu in Shalagrama and then do whatever you want to do. You can do puja or you can do some other kind of meditation on that. Like that, why cannot we say that the individual is Brahman, is a Sampat Upasana? For that, Bhashyakara argued in detail why it cannot be Sampat Upasana. So, here, final argument was in Sampat Upasana, Sampattis Chet, Tad Apattihi Nasyat. See, let us say you are doing Sampat Upasana, two things are different from each other. But based on some resemblance, we are saying you consider, you visualize this on that. But one thing does not become the other in Sampat Upasana. Understand that. Okay, there are also Sampat Upasanas called Ahangraha Upasanas, where in oneself we visualize, like I am the Sutratma, like that Upasana is there even in the Veda. So even in such Upasanas, okay, you only attain a state where you enjoy similar to the Sutratma means here Prajapati we have to take, okay, the collective or the total Sukshma Sharira or Hiranyagarbha is called Sutratma, another word. And there are Upasanas that you do Upasana of yourself as Prajapati. But even there you don't become the current Prajapati. Even if you become Prajapati, it's only a post. So once this current Prajapati is gone, you may become Prajapati in another Kalpa, in the next cycle of creation. Or you attain a state where you enjoy similarly to a Sutratma or Prajapati. Like this, even in Ahangraha Upasana, where that is also one type of Sampat Upasana, where you visualize in yourself something else, the total. In the individual, you visualize the total. You can do all that. But in all that, one does not become the other. That is the argument here. Tad apattihi nasyat. So that's what Bhashyakara explains. Nahi anyasya anya bhavaha upapadyate. So one thing cannot become the other. But the Purva Pakshi says, Vachanat sampattehe api tad bhavapattihi syat iti chet. He says, no, Veda itself says, let us say. Therefore, even in Sampat Upasana, one thing can become another. Tad bhava apattihi. Okay, the other things bhava you get, or you become the other thing essentially. In fact, they even give a Brahmara Kita Nyaya and all that something. But I think modern science actually disproves that. That a wasp takes some other, some kind of a insect, and then it takes it into its own, wherever it lives, correct? Some kind of its living place is there, some kind of in a tree, let us say. It puts it into a hole in the tree. And then the wasp, traditionally the belief is that it keeps on, it does something to that insect, okay? And then that insect itself then becomes the wasp. Okay, Brahmara Kita Nyaya. But I think modern biologists and all, they say that it is nothing but food only. Wasp has its own young ones which are fed that, and then the new young ones come out. But that is not very visible. So like this, you cannot give Brahmara Kita Nyaya and all that. One thing cannot become the other. Bhashyakara is very clear here. Okay. But the Purva Pakshi is saying, no, let us say the Shruti says that, Vachanat. And even in Sampat Upasana, one can become the other. But then Bhashyakara says, na, if you say that also, no. Why? Because Sampattehe Pratyaya Matratvat. See, when you do a Sampat Upasana, it is only a visualization. It is only a mental visualization. Understand that. It is a visualization in your mind. It is only a Pratyaya, means it is some kind of a cognition. Okay. Where you visualize one as the other. It is purely a visualization. It is an idea in your mind, we can say, correct? Pratyaya matra, it does not create anything new or it does not change anything. In fact, in the case of jnana, aham brahmasmi, if you know, even that knowledge, what does it do? Knowledge also is a pratyaya, it is also a cognition, correct? It is also something which is taking place in your mind. This knowledge, also what does it do? We have to understand. So that also Bhashyakara explains further. He says, this whatever sampat upasana you do is purely a visualization in your mind. Further he says, vijnanasya cha mityajnana nivartakatva vyatirekena akarakatvam iti avochama. So what he is saying is, whether it is visualization or even knowledge, your understanding, the cognition, whatever you cognize, if you cognize something, you are not changing that thing, correct? Knowledge of an object cannot change that object. Whether it is knowledge of an object or visualizing an object on another object, both these things cannot do anything to the object itself or the one who is knowing also. The only thing which happens is what? Ignorance goes away. With knowledge, the false knowledge or ignorance or error goes away. Mithya jnana nivartakatva vyatirekena means what? Other than removing your false notions, your ignorance, okay, nothing else happens by knowledge. Knowledge only removes ignorance, it does not produce anything. This is a very important thing, because why it is? Because if a knowledge has to be newly produced for you to gain moksha, then it will become anitya again. Okay, so the traditional, they are very careful in explaining things. So what they are saying is, this ignorance is beginningless, because any ignorance is beginningless. That easily everybody can understand. How? If I ask you, do you know Chinese? You have to say, I don't know. Now if I ask, when did this I don't know start, means it was always there, correct? Till the time you know Chinese, it will be there. It never had any start. So all ignorance is beginningless, but it comes to an end. Okay, once that ignorance is gone, that's it. Afterwards, you are no more a knower also. In this case, with Atma Ajnanam, your status of being a knower also is gone along with that. Afterwards, there is nothing to talk about, because you have changed the order of reality. Okay, because even this bandha, moksha, bondage and freedom, being a limited individual and knowing oneself as the limitless, all these things are within transactional world only. And like in a dream tiger, a dream tiger can wake you up, correct? Like that, this Shruti Pramana, Veda as a means of knowledge, it makes you wake up to your own reality, and that reality is of a different order. Understand that. And afterwards, this doesn't matter anymore. This is only false always. It's like the dream has now become false, correct? Whatever happened in the dream does not matter anymore once you have woken up. Like that, this vijnana, knowledge, only removes mithya jnanam. Okay, all your false notions, wrong notions, they are all gone. Other than that, it does not do anything. It does not create anything. Akarakatvam iti avachama means it is not a factor of action in any other manner. Understand that. Any knowledge only removes ignorance of the object. It does not do anything to the object itself, or it does not create any new object, or it does not create anything new, in fact. So that's what Bhashyakara is pointing out here. So the Sampat Upasana, where the human being who wants to become Brahman actually becomes Brahman and all, is not correct. Whatever you are saying is not proper. So further he says, Nacha vachanam vastunaha samarthya janakam means even the words of the Shruti in reality, okay, does not have the capability to create anything. Okay. So in fact, this is a very oft quoted or very important quotation. So what Bhashyakara says here, I think he says it in other Upanishads also. He says, Nyapakam hi shastram. The Shastra is only to make you know. In the process, remove your ignorance and wrong notions and all that. Okay. So Shastra is only Nyapakam. Na Karakam iti sthitihi. In fact, the Shastra does not make you do. In fact, the Purva Mimamsaka in fact considers that the Shastra itself somehow impels you to do something. But Bhashyakara does not agree to that. Okay. So Shastra is only Nyapakam. It informs you. It reveals to you certain things. As a valid means of knowledge, it is revealing to you things which are not available otherwise through perception and inference, let us say. And other means of knowledge. Broadly, perception and inference we can take. So the Shastra is only revealing things. After knowing that whether you do something or you don't do and all, it is Purusha Tantram. It is with you only, correct? That is why we have a free will. So any knowledge and any means of knowledge has to be Vastu Tantram, we say. That's why. Vastu Tantram means it has to be true to the object. But after that, it does not make you do anything or make you become anything or anything like that. So it is not a Karaka, it is only Nyapaka. Nyapakam hi Shastram. Okay, na Karakam iti sthitihi. So that is the status, that is the reality, fact. Okay, so now further what? Sayesha iha pravishtaha. So this is 147. We saw a huge argument was there, Pravesha Shruti. So this Param Brahma only entered here into this world as this Jivatma, as this individual. Ityadi Vakyeshu cha Parasya eva Praveshaha iti sthitam. So there it was established already that Param Brahma only has entered into this world as this individual and is available. In fact, the availability is the main thing here, because the infinite, limitless thing cannot enter somewhere. So finally, Bhashyakara there gave the meaning that entry really means availability, because if you say somebody has entered a room, they are available there, correct? So the Param Brahma is available for you to know. That is what is meant, or that is what is the Tatparya of the Pravesha Shruti, or the Veda, which is revealing to us that Param Brahma has entered. So here, that is already we have established that Param Brahma only has entered. Then what? Tasmat Brahma iti na Brahma bhavi Purusha Kalpana sadhi. Therefore, you cannot say that the Brahma who wanted to know is not the Param Brahma, because already in 147, what is under discussion is the Param Brahma which has entered into this world as the individual. Therefore, that individual also has to be looked upon as that Param Brahma only, but who is ignorant. Okay. So instead of that, you cannot say that the Brahma Shabda in this Vakya refers to somebody who wants to become Brahman, a person who wants to become Brahman. Like that, your imagination is not proper. Another reason he gives now. Ishtartha Badhana cha. Also, whatever is the desired meaning which we want, which the Shruti wants to convey actually, because you are also a Vaidika. Here we are not arguing against Avaidika. See, understand the debating, how Shankaracharya debates, or even traditionally how we debate, or we have an argument or a discussion. Before we enter into any discussion or debate, both the people have to agree which are all the valid means of knowledge. You cannot go to a Buddhist and argue with him saying that Veda is saying like this. Only answer from the Buddhist will be, I don't accept Veda. Then why are you telling me what Veda is telling? Similarly, the Buddhist also cannot tell us that Buddha has said that. If the Buddhist is telling to a Vaidika that Buddha has said like that, means the Vaidika will simply say Buddha is another human being. Whatever comes from his intellect and all, we cannot consider as a valid means of knowledge. So if both of you are arguing like that, then there is no end to it, correct? So the first thing about any debate, discussion, argument is that both of us have to agree on what are the valid means of knowledge which we accept. So typically if we are arguing against Nayayika or Buddhist, Nayayika also accepts Veda but not as the primary means of knowledge. But Buddhist outright rejects the Veda. So if we argue against them, we normally go only by Pratyaksha and Anumana. So we only go by perception and inference based arguments. But here we are actually arguing against another Vrittikara who is a Vaidika. So to that person we can say that the interpretation you are giving actually goes against whatever the Shruti is revealing. We can tell that as an argument, understand that. So here that's what Bhashyakara is pointing out, Ishtartha Badhanacha. So whatever is the Shruti trying to reveal, you are negating that real. How? Because the Shruti is actually revealing like this, Saindava Ghanavat Anantaram Abahyam Ekarasam Brahma. So the Brahman itself is revealed as something which is having a uniform nature, we have to say. Okay, like even a lump of salt, Saindava Ghanam, does not have anything other than saltiness as its nature, correct? It is throughout salty. A Saindava Ghana means a dense lump of salt is throughout salty. Similarly, this Brahman also, whether it is inside or outside, everywhere, it is of the same nature. Eka rasaha, Eka rasam Brahma. This Brahma is of one nature alone. It doesn't have different nature or it is not different things. So iti vijnanam sarvasyam upanishadi pratipipadayishitaha arthaha. So what Bhashyakara is pointing out is Brahman is being revealed by the Upanishads as having one nature alone, and that Brahman alone is being revealed as Satyam also. We will come to that. And this is the desire of all the Upanishads. Pratipipada ishitarthaha means what? Pratipadyate means revealing. Pratipadaka means the revealer. Pratipadya means the revealed. Now Pratipipada ishita means what? The sun pratyaya comes here and then the desire to reveal, it means actually. So all the Upanishads have the desire to only reveal Brahman as that which has the same nature of being consciousness, okay, of the very nature of consciousness, awareness, knowledge. That's how Brahman is being revealed by all the Upanishads. And here also, Kandadvaye api ante avadharana, even in this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, okay, we have two kandas, Madhukanda, Munikanda. The first two chapters are called Madhukanda. Third and fourth are called Munikanda. So predominantly the Brahma Vidya is taught in these two khandas or sections or whatever. So in these two sections, also the same thing is being revealed here. How? Avagamyate. So that is now, we know that how. Iti Anushasanam. So the 2.5.11 is the end of Madhukanda. There it is saying this is what is taught, that Brahman is everything. It is of the same nature of consciousness. That is what is called. It is taught. Similarly, 4.5.15. Also, the end of Munikanda also, Etavad Are Kalu Amritatvam. So this alone is immortality, Amritatvam. Like this, there also it is taught, Brahman is taught in the same manner. So similarly, what Tatha Sarva Shakha Upanishadsu cha Brahma Ekatva Vijnanam Nischitaha Arthaha. So the Brahman alone exists. Brahma Ekatva Vijnanam means what? Brahma alone really exists. That alone is Satyam. This is what is revealed by all the Upanishads of different Veda Shakas. Whether it is Taittiriya Upanishad in Krishna Yajurveda or Brihadaranyaka Upanishad here in Shukla Yajurveda or in Rig Veda, okay, Aitareya Upanishad, or in Samaveda, Chandogya Upanishad, or if you take Atharva Veda, Mandukya Upanishad is there, Mundaka Upanishad is there, all these Upanishads, and Kathopanishad also is there, that is also Yajurveda. So like this Kataka Shaka. So different Shakas, different branches of the Veda, whichever Upanishad you take, all of them are revealing the same thing, that Brahman alone is real, that alone exists really. Brahma aimed, that is what is, definitely we can say that is the only thing which is revealed. So whatever you are imagining is actually going against what the Upanishad desires to reveal. That is the point here. So tatra yadi samsari brahmanaha anyaha atmanam eva avet iti kalpyeta ishtasya arthasya badanam syat. So how is it that his imagination is against what is being revealed by the Upanishad that Bhashyakara is pointing out? So this being the case, that Brahman alone is real, okay, everything else is mithya. That is what is being revealed. But there what you are saying is what? If you say that samsari, the individual who leads a life of becoming, okay, and who is separate from Brahman, Brahmanaha anyaha, and what does it do? What does he do? That samsari, atmanam eva avet, means he knows only himself. So if you say that samsari knows himself, and then that is what is your interpretation means, that goes against whatever all the Upanishads really want to reveal. You are actually negating all the Upanishads. So if you imagine like that, ishtasya arthasya badanam syat, whatever the Upanishad really wants, desires to reveal, that is being negated by you. Tatacha shastram upakrama upasamharayoho virodhat asamanjasam kalpitam syat. Also, what will happen? The Shastra itself will become meaningless, because it starts in one way and it will end in some other way. Because it starts as Sadeva Somya Idam Agre Asit. Sadvastu alone was there. Correct? Ekameva Advitiyam. One, only one, without a second. And then you end saying that you are not Brahman. This samsari wants to become Brahman. Samsari who is not Brahman, trying to become Brahman, is doing Sampati Upasana. Like this, if you say, you are starting in one way, you are ending in some other way. The Shastra itself will become meaningless then. You cannot start in one way and end in one way. In fact, Upakrama, Upasamhara means what? Beginning and ending. That is one linga. Whenever we want to interpret the Veda, there are Shad lingas are there. One of the linga is Upakrama Upasamhara. How a section begins, how it ends. Based on that only, that section's meaning we can assign. So Upakrama Upasamhara, Abhyasa Purvata Phalam. Then Abhyasa, what is repeatedly taught. Apurvata, what is being taught. Whether it is only an Anuvada, means repeating whatever is already known by some other means of knowledge, or it is something which is totally newly revealed. Whatever is totally newly revealed, only we are interested in the Veda. If the Veda is going to repeat whatever is already known scientifically or through perception and inference and all that, why should we even require Veda? So that's why I always say Veda is scientific, means that person does not know Veda also, and that person doesn't know science also. Understand that? Because science has its own scientific methodology, and they have their own way of doing hypothesis testing and all that. You have to propose a hypothesis. Hypothesis itself is falsifiable, it should be. Then you have your own experimental methods to whatever is predicted by a theory has to be then proven experimentally. Of course, any hypothesis can start with certain axioms. Those axioms themselves need not be proven. Okay, so at best we can say that Veda is axiomatic, because whatever Veda says is not falsifiable. Understand that. Whatever it is revealing is neither provable by science nor disprovable. That's how in fact we want it. Then only Veda itself has any meaning for us. So we do not want to say Veda is scientific. In fact, that is coming from some other misunderstanding that somehow science means validity. That's what I think. Many people confuse scientific with being valid, but I am very clear that not everything scientific is valid, and not everything unscientific or traditional is invalid also. Correct? But many people somehow has given such a pedestal to science. They think that if we just say something is scientific, automatically its validity is established. I don't buy that argument. Okay. For me, the Veda is self-valid. All knowledge is self-valid, in fact, for us. Swatah Pramanyam, it is called. Any knowledge is valid until it is disproved. Otherwise, no transaction is possible, correct? If every cognition has to be validated before you can do anything, that will lead to an infinite regression. So that's not how the world works. So all knowledge is self-valid. Only error has to be proved by some other cognition. Paratah Pramanyam is only for error. Swatah Pramanyam, Parataha Apramanyam. Like that, there is a general statement is there. Anyway, so these things we may even discuss later on some other time. But what I want to point out here is this Veda, whatever it is revealing, correct? It has to reveal in a manner where it is actually not contradicting itself. It has to have certain uniformity in what it is revealing. Whatever it is saying in the beginning, it has to say in the end. It has to say this. It has to repeat the same thing in between also. All these things are the linga for us. And whatever it is revealing to us also should not be available through any other means of knowledge. Then only the Veda is useful to me. And it has to be purposeful also. Phalavat. Veda cannot come and say in Swarga, the crow is golden. No, how does it matter to me whether in the Swarga crow is golden or black or white or anything? So Veda being a deliberate means of knowledge, whatever it reveals has to be also useful to me always. That is not the same case with your nose or ear or anything. Understand that. If that is the case, then we don't have to keep our nose like this when we are going in some streets or some places. Because the nose will anyway reveal to you whether it is fragrance or some other smell. Okay. Similarly, ear also will reveal to you whether it is a mellifluous voice or some other kind of sound. Correct? Unless you can close your ears, or even then I don't know how you can close it. But anyway, the point here is Veda being a deliberate pramana has to reveal something useful to me. And what it also has to have some internal logic. Upapatti has to be there. It has to be consistent, and it has to have its own internal logic also. And finally, certain things it can praise and all that. So we have to also identify where it is in a praise mode and where it is in a normal mode and all that. Arthavada. So all these things we see and arrive at the meaning of the Veda. Okay, the Shad Linga. So Arthavadopapatti cha lingam tatparya nirnaye. So upakramopasamharau abhyasa purvata phalam. Arthavadopapatti cha lingam tatparya nirnaye. So these are the indications. 6 indications are there. Beginning, end, repeatedly what is being said, whether what is being said is unique, and whether it is useful, then whether it is internally consistent and has its own internal logic, And finally, wherever we have to also identify, in some places it is just praising certain things, that also we have to identify. Based on all these things, we arrive at the Tatparya, what the Veda really tries to convey to us. Now, whatever you are saying, Upakrama Upasamhara itself is different, it will become different, and the way this, whatever the Pramana, Veda as a Pramana itself, we cannot accept anymore. That's what is going to happen if we accept what you say. So now another argument Bhashyakara brings in. What is that? Vyapadesha Anupapattescha. The name Brahma Vidya itself is not tenable anymore, he says. If you say that the human being who is not Brahman and who wants to become Brahman is knowing, then it cannot be called Brahma Vidya. It should be called Samsari Vidya only. Like that Bhashyakara will argue now. So the name given as Brahma Vidya itself is Visnamar. So Yedicha Atmanam Eva Avet iti Samsari Kalpyeta. So if the Samsari, the individual, the limited individual is knowing only himself or herself, so is knowing oneself only, like that if you imagine, then Brahma Vidya iti Vyapadeshaha nasyat, then it cannot have the name Brahma Vidya. This cannot be called Brahma Vidya. Why? Because Shruti is clearly saying Atmanam eva avetiti. So the Shruti is saying that Brahman knew only itself or oneself. And if you say that Brahma actually points to a samsari manushya, human being, samsarinaha eva vedyatva upapatte, then that samsari can know only himself as a samsari, correct? So for this, now the Purva Pakshi is making absurd claims. He says, no, Atmanam eva avet. There that Atma is not the samsari. It is, why can't we say it is Paramatma? Jivatma is knowing Paramatma. So he says, Atma iti vetuhu anyad uchyate iti chet. So Atmanam eva avet, in that sentence, let us say that Atma is not self. Okay, not the samsari self at least. It is something other than the knower. Why can't we say like that? Means, na aham brahmasmi iti visheshanat, because immediately how did he know? Aham brahmasmi iti, I am Brahman, like that this person knew. So if you say the knower and the known are different, anyasched vedyaha syat. So if the known Atma is different from the knower Atma, like that if you argue, one is Jiva Atma, another is Paramatma. Most Dvaitins argue like this. Okay. Then what? It cannot be Aham Brahmasmi, correct? It has to say I am Asau Itiva Visheshyeta. So it should be this. So it cannot be again I am Brahma Asti, it will become not Asmi. Asmi cannot be there. So whatever you say, Natu Aham Asmi iti. So Aham Asmi, I am Brahman, it cannot be there. It should be this is Brahman or that is Brahman. So you can say this is Brahman or that is Brahman, but not I am Brahma. So this I am is English I am. Okay, don't confuse it with Sanskritam I am. In Sanskritam I am actually means this. See here one I am Asau is there. So that Samskrita I am is different. So I am actually going between Samskrita I am and English I am seamlessly. I hope you understand that correctly. So Ahamasmi means I am in Brahman. Sorry, I am in English. Anyway, so Ahamasmi iti Visheshanat Atmanam eva avet iti cha avadharanat nischitam Atma eva brahmeti avagamyate. So Bhashyakara summarizes now clearly. See, Ahamasmi is there. I am. Then what? So that is a qualification. Iti Visheshanat. Then Atmanam eva avet. Brahma knew only itself. Knew oneself only. So like that also it has been ascertained here. Therefore what? Definitely we can say Nischitam Atma eva Brahmeti. We can say definitely Atma is Brahman. Atma is not other than this Brahman. That is now clearly understood. Tathacha sati, that being the case, upapannaha brahma vidya, it is tenable to say that it is brahma vidya. Otherwise you have to say only samsari vidya. Only aham brahma asmi, aham brahma, if both are same, then only it can be called brahma vidya. The name brahma vidya is tenable, is proper, na anyatha, not otherwise. Otherwise what? Samsari vidya hi anyatha syat. Otherwise it will become samsari vidya, not brahma vidya. Okay, another argument Purvapakshi may bring. So Bhashyakara is preempting, I think. So he says, Nacha Brahmatva Abrahmatve Ekasya Upapanne Paramarthataha. So another argument is some people are there, Veda Vedavadis, they are called. Okay, they say Brahma and Jiva are different also, they are one also. Okay, if you look at the whole, they are one, but if you look at the parts, they are different, something like that. Bheda Bhedavadis. So you can say, similarly, you can say Jiva is Brahman also, Jiva is not Brahman also. Both Brahmatvam and Abrahmatvam is there in the Jiva, who is knowing himself as Brahman. Why cannot we say like that? This is also an argument. So for that, Bhashyakara says, Brahmatva and Abrahmatva, if you say that it is there in the same thing, Ekasya Upapanne Paramarthataha. In reality, in one object only, one substantive only, both Brahmatvam and Abrahmatvam are there, means that also we cannot accept because they are Tamah Prakasha Viva Bhanoho Viruddhatva. It is like saying sun is both bright and dark at the same time. We cannot accept that. Sun's very nature is brightness alone. It cannot have both brightness and darkness together. So nacha ubhaya nimittatve brahma vidyeti nischitaha vyapadeshaha yuttaha. Another point also he is giving here. If you say both brahmatva and abrahmatva are there in the same thing, okay, ubhaya nimittatve means both are there. Then also you cannot call it brahma vidya, correct? You cannot call it only brahma vidya, then that name is still not proper. So tada brahma vidya samsari vidya cha syat. In that case what? You have to say it is both brahma vidya and samsari vidya. You cannot say it is only brahma vidya. Also further he says, anyway we don't accept this. So he is giving another astunaha ardha jaratiyatvam kalpayitum yuktam. Okay, so ardha jarati means what? There is one lady, you say half of her is old. Only half the lady has become very old, half the lady is young, like that. Can you say like that? Ardha jarati means old, and ardha means half. So you cannot say one lady, half of that lady is old and all that. Like that we cannot imagine. You cannot imagine, in fact. Therefore, that is not particularly with reference to Tattva Jnana Vivakshayam, when we are actually analyzing what is the truth. You cannot say truth is this also, that also, like that. And that too, those two things are totally opposed to each other. So when we are actually venturing to know what is the truth, we are analyzing truth and trying to know what is the truth. You cannot imagine things like this. If you do like that, what will happen? That also Bhashyakara says, Shrotuhu samshayaha hi tatha syat. Then whoever is listening also to your interpretation will have only doubts. That person will not know whether I am samsari or aham brahma. You have to say either one of it at least, clearly. So you cannot say you are both samsari, you are also Brahman. So that will only create doubts. Therefore, what? Nischitam cha jnanam purushartha sadhanam ishyate. So only clear and determined knowledge, okay? The knowledge has to be clear. and it cannot be this or that kind of a thing. It has to be definitive also. A clear and definitive knowledge alone is a means for whatever we desire to attain, correct? It can only be a Purushartha sadhana. Means what? Purushartha means Purushena Arthyate. Whatever is desired by people, and to attain whatever is really desired by people, in this case moksha, and only definitive and clear knowledge can be a moksha sadhana, can be a means for freedom, can be a means for getting rid of all limitations, not anything else. And he is also quoting Shruti for that, Chandogya Shruti. Yasya syat adha na vichikitsasti. So the one who has this definite faith, we have to say here, okay, or the word faith and all we don't have to use, Shraddha, that I will go to Brahma Loka, I will go to whatever Loka, correct? Without any doubts, the one who has that and then does karma, that person will attain that result. Like that Chandogya Upanishad is saying. There should not be any vichikitsa. Vichikitsa means here doubt. Na vichikitsa asti. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita. Samshayatma vinashyati. Nayam lokosti na paraha. Na sukham samshayatmanaha. Like that, Bhagavan continues also. See, for the one who has doubt, na ayam lokaha. This loka also he doesn't have any, he does not enjoy. Na paraha also. Nayam lokosti na paraha. And he has doubts about whether even after, if I do dharma here, will I really go to Swarga? He has doubts there also. And here also he has doubts. Means, nasukham samshayatmanaha, the one who has doubts does not have sukha anywhere, cannot enjoy either here or hereafter. So samshayatma vinashyati, the one who has doubts is destroyed. Like that, Bhagavan also says in the Gita. So iti Shruti Smritibhyam, in Shruti and Smriti also it is said that there cannot be any samshaya, any doubts. Always knowledge has to be clear and definitive. Ataha na samshayitaha vakyartaha vachyaha parihitarthinaha. Therefore, you cannot have all this doubtful meaning to these sentences. Okay? And all these things have now been dismissed. All these doubtful interpretations have to be dismissed. They cannot be accepted by the one who desires hita. Parahitarthinaha means one who desires ultimate good. Means here moksha we have to take. Okay? By that person, all this, therefore we cannot accept any doubtful interpretations. Okay, further what? Now Purva Pakshi brings another argument. Brahmani sadhakatva kalpana asmadadishu iva apeshala tad atmanam eva avet tasmat tat sarvam abhavatiti. So we cannot accept, he is saying, that Brahman is a sadhaka. Sadhakatvam cannot be there in Brahman. Sadhakatvam means what? The status of being the one who is making some effort, correct, to attain something. The attainer, you can say. Sadhaka is the one who wants to attain something, correct? The attainer, the doer. So Brahman cannot be the one who is actually wanting to attain anything. That status for Brahman is not proper. Why? Because even in the Upanishad it is saying, Tad Atmanam eva avet, tasmat sat sarvam abhavat. It became everything by knowing itself. But you are saying Brahman only was ignorant and then it used the knowledge as the sadhana to again become Brahman. How can we accept this? Brahman cannot be a sadhaka. Like that they are raising a new objection. Then Bhashyakara says, see, this is not what I am saying. Okay, so if I say that, if I imagine that, you can accuse me that I have this great Param Brahma has now become a sadhaka. I have reduced it to the status of a sadhaka, like that you can tell me. But this is being done by the Shastra. So he says, na, Shastra upalambhat. This is this is available in the Shastra. This is being revealed by the Shruti only. So, nahi asmat kalpaneyam. So it is not being imagined by me. Shastra kritatu, it is being done by the Shastra only. Shastra only is presenting it in that manner. Therefore, what? Tasmat Shastrasya ayam upalambha. So this is being presented, this is being given to you by the Shastra only, not by me. I am not imagining anything. In fact, he further says, Nacha Brahmanaha ishtam chikirshuna Shastrartha viparita kalpanaya Swartha parityagaha karyaha. So now Bhashyakara is advising the other guy. He says, see, you are presenting yourself as though you are a great redeemer of Brahman. Correct? You desire that Brahman should not be brought down in its status and all that. So Brahmasya ishtam chikirshna means what? The one who is desirous of what is desirable for Brahman. Okay, whatever is desirable for Brahman, that's what you also want. Like that you are presenting yourself. For such a person, you should not be doing imaginary interpretations you should not give by giving up the meaning of the Shastra itself, because Brahman itself is revealed to us only through Shastra. So you have to go along with whatever the Veda is saying, with reference to Brahman particularly. At least with reference to other things which are known through perception or inference, you can argue. Okay, but not in the case of Brahman, because Brahman itself is Upanishadam. It is revealed only by the Upanishads, by the Shastra. So Shastrartha viparita kalpanaya swartha parityagaha. Swartha parityaga means the meaning of the Shastra itself you cannot give up. The actual meaning which the Shastra is revealing, you cannot give up that and try to imagine something else. And in the process, you also say that I am only desirous of maintaining the status of Brahman and all that. Okay. Further, what? Nacha etavati eva akshama yukta bhavataha. Okay, so what Bhashyakara is further is rubbing it in, I think. He says, you are talking about this Brahman being sadhaka, correct? With that only you are now becoming so impatient. You are not able to accept that. But what the Shastra is actually revealing, what is it revealing? Sarvam hi nanatvam brahmani kalpitameva. See, everything, any nanatvam means what? Multiplicity. So anything, all the many objects which we have, all that are only, they are all only appearances in Brahman. They are not real. Like that, sadhakatvam also is having the same status. So why are you only picking up sadhakatvam, the status of being an attainer or one who wants to attain something? That also is mithya. And along with that, this entire Srishti itself is only Namarupa. This entire creation, it's all only names and forms. And they are all only appearances in Brahman, this entire multiplicity. And Shruti itself is saying that Ekada eva anudrashtavyam. So the Brahman has to be seen only in one form as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Correct? Brihadaranyaka itself will say that 4.4.20. Then Neha Nanasti Kinchana. There is no, not Nana, many, multiplicity is not at all there. There is only one. One alone really exists. The all others are only names and forms. Only the Karana is Satyam. All Karya, the effects, the cause alone is real, exists. All other things are only names and forms, the effects. They are all potentially there in the cause. They become manifest. Again, they become unmanifest. They come and go. They are all non-eternal. And they are only names and forms. What is there really is Brahman alone. Again, even yatrahi dvaitam iva bhavati. where it is as though Dvaita is there, like the Dvaitam Iva. This Iva word is very, very important. Okay, this entire Dvaitam, this world duality is only Iva, as though. It's all as though. In reality, only consciousness alone is. And you are that conscious being. Okay, don't think it is something else. Ekameva Advitiyam, Chandogya. Sadeva Somya Idamagre Asit, Ekameva Advitiyam. So, Ityadi Vakya Shatebhyaha, hundreds of Vakya sentences like this are there. And Sarvaha hi Loka Vyavaharaha, Brahmani eva Kalpitaha, na Paramartataha, San. So, all the activities here in this transactional world, they are all only superimposed on this Brahman. They are all only appearances. They are all Kalpita. And they are not there in reality. Na Paramartataha. So, iti alpam idam uchyate iyameva kalpana apeshaleti. So, this is, so that being the case, here saying Brahman is a sadhaka is only a very little superimposition we are doing, correct? Otherwise, the Shastra itself says everything is only superimposition on Brahman, it's only an appearance in Brahman. Then what to talk about the status of being a sadhaka? That is very, very small, very limited. Therefore, there is no problem with that. So, like this, Bhashyakara, this sadhakatva problem also he addresses beautifully. Then what? Actually, now all these arguments are over. Only now he is actually coming into the meaning of the Vakya itself. He is coming. So he says, Tasmat, therefore what? Yat pravishtam srashtr brahma tad brahma vai shabdaha avadharanarthaha idam sharirastam yad grihyate agre prak pratibodhadapi Brahma eva asit sarvancha idam kintu apratibodhat. So, therefore, what we have now finally established that Brahma eva, this whatever Brahma Shabda in the beginning of this Vakya is there, that is Param Brahma only, which has entered in 147. That same Param Brahma entered into this Srishti. Okay, that is also the creator, but it entered into this creation. And that Brahman alone is meant by this Brahma Shabda. That has now been clearly established. That has been determined. And that is the one which is there in this Sharira also. Sharirastham, the one who is there in this Sharira. So it is the one which is there. Yad Grihyate, it is available in this Sharira as the Shariri, as the one who is there in the body. So even in this body also, whatever is available, and Agre, in the beginning what? Prak Pratibodhat, before knowing itself properly, it did not know itself. That was the problem. So in the beginning, it was ignorant, having entered into this, into all these bodies in this created world, that Brahman itself was ignorant before knowing, before this knowledge dawned, it was ignorant. But still it was Brahman only. Brahma eva asit, being Brahman, but did not know itself as Brahman. That was the problem. And Sarvancha idam, so it was Brahman itself, and everything else also here, whatever was there, is also Brahman only. But what? It did not know that. Kintu apratibodha, it was not known to that Brahman, that Aham Brahma Asmi, Aham Brahma, I am Brahman, and also whatever is there here, Sarvam Idam, whatever is there here, everything else also is Brahman alone. But this was not known in the beginning. Therefore, what? Aham Brahmasmi, sorry, Abrahmasmi, Asarvancha iti Atmani Adhyaropat. So I am not Brahman, I am not everything, like that in oneself, one has superimposed. And because of that, what? You are actually superimposing on yourself, Karta Aham, I am a doer, Kriyavan, Phalanancha Bhokta. So I am the one who is subjected to I am a doer and also I am subjected to different actions. And I am the enjoyer of fruits of these actions. Okay, Phalanancha Bhokta, Sukhi, Dukhi. I am the one who is happy, I am the one who is sad. Samsari, I am a becoming person. I am the one who is leading a life of becoming. Iticha, Adhyaropayati, all these things are superimposed on oneself. But Paramarthataha tu, in reality, what Brahmaiva, you are still Brahman only. Even when you are Samsari, you are in reality Brahman. And also Tad Vilakshanam Sarvancha. Also, even though you think you are limited, in reality, you are the limitless, you are everything. That is the reality. But then what happens? Tat Katanchit Acharyena Dayaluna, by some compassionate teacher, Acharya, Pratibodhitam, that Brahman only was taught. Nasi samsari, you are not a samsari, you are not a limited individual becoming, always becoming something, you are not that person. Iti atmanam eva avet swabhavikam. So in this manner, again that ignorant Brahman knew itself, its nature, its real nature. Swabhavikam means here its real nature. And avidya adhyaropita vishesha varjitam, without all the other superimposed wrong notions like I am a karta, bhokta, all those things are gone. I am a doer, enjoyer, all those wrong notions are gone, and you know yourself, your true nature as this conscious being who alone really exists, who is limitless. So like that, you know, that is the Shabdasya Arthaha, that is the meaning of this Vakya really. Further we'll see next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Guruji.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
धन्यवादः गुरुजी.